Good afternoon, guys. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, in the previous class, we have discussed about inductive learning and analytical learning. Okay. So, the simple difference between inductive learning and analytical learning is nothing but in inductive learning, if you take the example of chessboard, okay. So, here you can see chessboard. So in case of inductive learning, what will happen means if you want to apply any particular algorithm to this particular data, okay, so the machine needs all the related data, that is nothing but whoever are the players who has been played previously on different boards, okay, so that data has to be given to the system or machine as a training examples. So much data is required. Thousands of data should be given to the system. So according to its experience, it will process the data and uses the output. So this is in case of inductive learning. Okay. So in inductive learning, it requires, it takes much space, much memory, all these things. Okay. So, but in case of analytical learning, no need of giving the previous data. So what we have to do here is we have to explain about the data, about the domain. So if you take the same example, chess game, okay. So what you have to do here is you have to tell about the game. So you'll be having about the board. You, chess game will consist of 32 coins, okay, 64 square boxes, and how the pawn will move, how the camel will move, how the knight horse will move, how the king will move, how the queen will move, all these things. Okay, so this should be explained. So if we explain all these things to the system, so it itself will learn how to make a move. It analyzes itself. It will learn the analysis about that particular domain and it will execute the process. So this is in case of analytical learning. So this is the difference between inductive learning and analytical learning. So here the drawback of inductive learning is nothing but it performs poorly when there is insufficient data or when there is a scarcity of data. Insufficient data and some of the attribute values is missing, okay, and some of the values are replicated, some of the data is duplicated, so all these things. So this is there in case of inductive learning. This is given to the system and it does the process even though if we are giving this type of data. So in case of analytical learning, this is not done, okay. So here analytical learning uses prior knowledge and deductive reasoning. So what is prior knowledge? Prior knowledge is nothing but it should know about the domain knowledge, domain theory. Okay. So what I have told you, chess game is one domain. Okay. It has to know about all the things. What is chess game? What are the rules? All these should be given to the system. Okay. So it should know about the prior knowledge of the domain. So that is nothing but analytical learning. So here, whatever the domain theory which is there, that is different from all the domains or different databases. Okay. So if you take hospital domain, it is related to patients, doctors, details, all these things. If you take about the institute, in institute, it is related to this domain is related to students, teacher, all these things. If you take company, in company, the domain, uh, it is related to employees, all these things. Okay, so here domain theory is different for different databases and it is different for different applications. Okay, so here analytical learning uses prior knowledge. So that is nothing but previous knowledge about the database or about the data or explanation about the database. That should be required here. Okay. So here analytical learning. So the definition of analytical learning is nothing but given a hypothesis space H, a set of training examples D, and a domain theory B consisting of background knowledge that can be used to explain observed training examples. The desired output of an analytical learner is a hypothesis H from the hypothesis that is consistent with both the training examples D and the domain theory B. డేటా తోటి మన ఇచ్చిన ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ తోటి రెండిటితోటి కన్సిస్టెంట్ ఉంటేనే ఆ పర్టికులర్ హైపోథసిస్ విల్ కాల్ ఇట్ as consistent. Okay. So here in inductive and analytical learning approach, you'll be having different types of approaches in learning. Okay. So why learning is needed? So the machine will learn and it will perform some task automatically and it's perform some calculation and it gives us some classification and prediction. So that's why learning is needed. So what is prediction here? Prediction is nothing but it is predicting some output. That is nothing but some hypothesis. Okay. So what is this hypothesis? How we will tell this particular hypothesis is consistent? That is nothing but predicted value should be equal to actual value. So whatever the value which is given to the system, so that is that and the predicted value, what the system is providing us, that both should be equal. Then only we can say that the hypothesis is consistent. If this particular is not equal, then there is some error. Okay. So when we are not getting the appropriate hypothesis, then there is error while processing the data. Okay. So there are different types of learning problems. So what are the different types of learning problems here? A set of training examples D, possibly containing error. So in dataset, you'll have different types of errors. It contains different types of errors. Okay. And second one is domain theory B, possibly containing error. Domain theory, when we explain about the domain, then also there will be some errors. Okay. And space of the candidate hypothesis H. Here also you'll be having errors. So what is this? When collection of different hypotheses, then also we'll get different types of errors. So you'll be having like this different types of learning problems will be there. So the machine will have different types of learning problems while giving the data, while giving the explanation, while having the hypothesis means output, the required output. So all these are different types of learning problems. Okay. So how to determine? So here a hypothesis that best fit the training example as per the domain theory. Then we can determine that whatever the output which we are getting, that is correct or consistent. Okay. So best fit hypothesis and ఏంటి? So best fit hypothesis is nothing but where we have zero errors, where we don't have any zero errors, then that is called as best fit hypothesis. ఓకే. సో మనం ఎప్పుడైతే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేస్తామో మనకి ఎప్పుడైతే ఎర్రర్స్ రావో దాన్ని మనం బెస్ట్ ఫిట్ హైపోథసిస్ అంటాం. ఓకే. That is nothing but predicted value is equal to actual value. So then that is called as best fit hypothesis. Okay. So here we will be having two types of errors. This we have seen in the previous classes also. I have told you true error and actual error. Okay. So here error due to training example, that is called as error of D of H. So error of D of H. So this is called as error due to training examples. So wherever we occur error due to training examples, we will be calculating this. Okay. So this is one type of error. And one more is there when there is error in domain theory. Okay. So that is determined as error of B of H. Okay. So what is error due to training example? Error due to training example is nothing but some of the attributes or some attribute values may be missing in the training example, or some of the attribute values may be repeated in the training example, or some of the values are duplicated. So then we will get error in training example. So this one. Another error is error in domain theory. Okay. So what is error in domain theory? Error in domain theory is nothing but some of the explanation can be irrelevant to the target concept, which is not relevant. Okay. So then we will get error in domain theory. So these are the two errors we will be getting when we do the process. So by combining these two errors, we can minimize the error. To decrease the error, we will be combining these two. Okay. So combining these two errors, you will get minimum error, that is R minimum KD of error D of H. This is H argument, H belongs to H, plus KB of error of B of H. రెండింటిని కలిపితే మనకి ఎర్రర్ మినిమం అవుతుంది, మనం మినిమైజ్ చేయొచ్చు. Okay. So here what is KD and what is KB? KD and KB are nothing but these two are used to give the weights. Okay. So how to calculate KD and KB here? So if we have very poor explanation and a great deal of reliability of the data, so then what we will do? Then it will be best to wait. దానికి మనం మంచి వెయిట్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ సారీ తక్కువ వెయిట్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. పూర్ ఉంటే పూర్ ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ ఉండి వెయిట్ అనేది తక్కువ ఇస్తాం మనం. ఓకే, so if we have strong theory and a strong explanation and a small sample of noisy data, then it gives best result. If we give the weight with less higher less weight is given to this particular type of data, so we will get less error. Okay, so ఇక్కడ ఏంటి అని అంటే టూ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ ఉంటాయి. వన్ ఇస్ వెయిట్స్ ఇవ్వడానికి ఏంటి అని అంటే వాట్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు గివ్ when we are having poor explanation when we give explanation about the domain, if it is poor, okay, and there is no reliable of data, okay, so then we will assign less weight to that. If we are having strong theory and a strong explanation and reliable data, and there is no noisy data, only some noisy data is there, to that we will give high weights. Okay, so here KD and KB are used to give the weights here. So learning with perfect domain theory. So what is learning with perfect domain theory? So here we will be using one algorithm that is called as Prolog. So what is Prolog? Prolog is nothing but programming by logic. Prolog is defined as programming by logic. EBG అంటే ఏంటి అని అంటే explanation based learning. Okay, explanation based general. So EBG is nothing but explanation based general or explanation based learning. It is called as. Okay. So here in analytical learning, it is explanation based learning. It is based on explanation. Okay. So machine learns based on explanation of different training examples. Okay, so what is explanation? Explanation means theories. So we are explaining each and everything. So if you are having a cell phone, okay, so what you will do, you will explain about each and everything about the cell phone. So how you are going to call, how you are going to make a call with WhatsApp, how you are going to make the call with Facebook, how you can chat, so all these things. Okay, so machine, it is analytical learning, it is explanation based learning. Okay, and it is based on the explanation, and here machine learns based on the explanation of different training examples which we have given here. And explanation means whatever the theory, we will explain about the data, and the theory will be written or given for each and every training example. Okay, so we will be explaining each and everything about the data or training example. And here explanation related to various domain theory. So what is domain theory? Domain theory means knowledge on specific field. Okay, so if you take a student, so the field is related to some institute or anything. Okay, so here explanation means theory or words that is written for each and every training example. If you take a training example and this is the data set which we are having. Okay, so this is the data set which is related to students. So in this database, what is happening? You will be having hall ticket number, name, marks, okay, and then result. So what we do, we will explain each and everything about this particular data set, theory about this particular data set. Okay, so here explanation means theory or different words that is written for each and every training example which is there in the database. That is nothing but for this I'm explaining something, for this I'm explaining something, for this I'm explaining something. So that is nothing but I'm explaining about the hall ticket number. So this is the student hall ticket number, and this is the name of the student. These are the marks of the student. So in this way, I'll explain each and everything about the database. Okay. So here, domain theory said to be correct when it is true about the world, when it is true about the target concept. So here, what is correctness of domain theory and what is completeness of the domain theory? So if you see here, a domain theory is said to be correct if each and every assertions, such as a declaration, what you give, okay, what you explain, each and every declaration made by it is true about the data. Then we can say that the domain theory is correct. So if you take one example, how we are saying domain theory is correct. Okay. So in domain theory, I'm taking the domain as physics. Okay. So in physics, I'm declaring that gravitational force is everywhere. So this is my statement. This is my explanation. So what I'll do? So this particular statement is correct. So the system will give us this particular statement is correct. How it is doing? So gravitational force is everywhere. So that is correct. So machine is giving us correct. So it is applied to each and everything and it gives us the result as yes and correct. So this is called as domain theory. So domain theory is correct. Domain theory is complete. So whatever the assertions and whatever the declarations made in a particular domain, it must be correct and it must be applied to everything. It is correct and complete. అంటే మనకి ఎస్ అని వచ్చిందనుకో ట్రూ అని వచ్చిందనుకో ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఏంటి అంటే ఎంజాయ్ స్పోర్ట్స్ ఎస్ సో దిస్ ఈస్ కరెక్ట్ based upon the data. So we can say that whatever the domain theory is that is complete and correct. So here when domain theory is complete, when it covers each and every positive example and by default the negative examples, then only we can say that domain theory is complete and correct. Okay. So here explanation based learning method will depends upon the domain theory. Okay. So here, our analytical learning is explanation-based learning. Okay, and explanation-based learning is based upon the domain theory. And the domain theory is nothing but knowledge about a specific field. Okay, so here domain theory is said to be correct and complete means all the assertions or all the declarations which we give that is made true about the word, then only we can say that domain theory is complete and correct. Okay. And what is the need of domain theory here? So there are two needs of domain theory. So what are these two? So one is to improve the performance, and one is to, it is very different to have a perfect, correct, and complete domain theory. This is the second one. So what is the need of domain theory? So the first one is to improve the performance. So if you see here, if domain theory is considered with which will have only knowledge about particular string, that is not sufficient. Then we say that it is not correct. There won't be any improvement in the performance. Example ఏంటి అంటే, take the example of chessboard, playing chess. Okay, so in that chessboard, I'm about to lose the queen. So in the previous class, I have told you, if you see here, there is a chance of losing two coins. One is king and one is queen. Okay, so what is happening here? I'm about to lose queen here. So knowledge about that particular stream is not important. So here at that particular time, what opponent must do when this particular condition occurs? When explanation about this is given automatically and performance is improved. Okay. So if we give what the opponent want to do, all the explanation about how to execute the next step by the opponent, if we give all these things, so automatically the performance will be improved. Performance will increase. Okay. So we need everything about the domain theory. We have to explain each and everything about the domain theory here. So to improve the performance. So this is the first thing. Second one, it is very different to have perfect, correct and complete domain theory. So here, if you see, it is very necessary to assume and start from the imperfect theory and try to make it perfect. Wrong తీసుకొని దాన్ని కరెక్ట్ చేయండి. అంటే when you give wrong thing or which is not accurate, if you give this to system and if you get the perfect one, okay, so there domain theory is needed. At this place domain theory is needed. Okay, so this also is applied to the domain theory. So what we are doing here, second one is we start it from imperfect theory, and then we will improve the performance. We will arrive at a perfect domain theory. So this is second need of using domain theory. So the algorithm which is used here is, that is Prolog. Prolog is nothing but program based on logic. It is based on explanation. Okay, and in algorithm it is based on sequential covering and horn class. So here we will be using sequential covering algorithm, a combination of sequential covering algorithm and horn classes. So this we have seen in instance based learning method in the previous fourth unit. Okay, so what is sequential covering? So sequential covering is nothing but machine will learn one particular line or one particular training example that will be saved in the memory. Okay, then when it jump to second training example or any particular training example or any particular line, the first will be deleted, the first will be removed. So this is in the case of sequential covering algorithm. Okay, so this is sequential covering algorithm. Next one is horn classes. So what is horn class? Horn class is nothing but it is conjunction of different literals. అంటే one particular rule is related to another rule. So I'll show you one example. So you see here, this is so here you are not getting accurate one. So one particular rule is dependent on another rule. Okay. So in horn classes, we will be using conjunction of literals. It is based on the predicates, and we should have one positive literal in the database. Okay. So Prolog is combination of sequential covering algorithm and horn classes. Okay. So for Prolog EBG, he has taken the example of CF2 stack. Okay. So CF2 stack example I'll tell you. So before going to CF2 stack, what is Prolog algorithm? That I'll explain. Okay, then we'll move on to this example. So what is Prolog algorithm? Prolog algorithm. This algorithm is illustrated in 3 steps. Okay. So what are these three? One is explanation. That is nothing but explaining the new positive training example. Second one is analyzing. Analyzing is nothing but analyzing the explanation to determine the appropriate generalization. So first we have to explain, then we have to analyze, and then we have to refine. So these 3 steps are illustrated in prologue. Okay. So refining is nothing but the current hypothesis by adding the new on class to cover the positive examples. So that is nothing but we are adding horn class to search which covers new positive examples. We have to continue this process until no other positive example is left. So we have to try for all the positive examples which are there in the database. So that's why this particular refining technique is used in Prolog with the help of horn class. Okay. So one positive example is related to another positive example. Another positive example is related to another positive example. So that's why there we will be using horn class technique. Okay, so in Prolog, it is a combination of sequential covering algorithm and horn class. And here it follows 3 steps. The first one is explanation, second one is analyzing, and the third one is refining. Okay. So this is example of stack to stack. Okay. So what is this example? This example is nothing but you can see in figure training example there are two objects, object 1 and object 2. Okay. So here we take two training examples. One is object 1 and another one is object 2 and its properties. So what are its properties? Object 1 the material, cardboard, color, red. Material ఏంటి cardboard, color ఏంటి red, owner spread, type box. So this is object 1. Object 2 ఏంటి color blue, owner Louis, wood, material ఏంటి wood. So likewise we are explaining about these two objects. So what we have to do, we have to explain about training examples, each and everything about this training example. So here we are finding weight of the object 1 and object 2. Okay. So what is our goal? Main task is to check, is it possible to place object 1 onto object 2 or not. So this is our goal. Okay. So when we can place object 1 on object 2, that we have to check. So here we are applying Prolog algorithm. So here now consider object 1. In object 1 you can see you are having volume. So here you can see these two are objects. This is object 1 and this is object 2. So our aim, so what is our task? We have to place object 1 on object 2, whether it is possible or not, that we have to check. Okay. So here, consider object 1 here. Okay. So in object 1, you are having volume and density. So these are the two properties. So what we are doing, we calculate the weight of the volume and density. So we are calculating the weight of volume and density here. So we got the weight as 0.6 for object 1. Now consider object 2. In object 2, if you consider both this volume and density, you'll be getting the weight as 5. Okay. So now compare these two weights. Then 0.6 is less than 5. So object 1 is less than object 2. So here it is satisfied. Then we can place object 1 on object 2. So here object 1 is lighter than object 2. So what we are doing? We are placing object 1 on object 2. So this is nothing but save to stack. Okay, so here save to stack x comma y tends to volume of x comma 2 and density x comma 0.3 and type y comma end table. Then we can place 1 or 2. So this is the formula which we are using here. Okay, so this is the example for Prolog. So the remaining one we will see in the next class. Yeah, anybody? Shrikar, are you there? Ikat or anybody? Can you send me the attendance, today's attendance? Guys,